Hey everybody, this is Steve Keck over at Kegtron. Thanks for joining us today. Well, we're going to be talking about our keg monitoring systems over here. But before we do, big thanks to Andrew over at Craft Beer Professionals. Really excited to be part of the spring conference this year and hope that everybody's checking out all the cool content that's going to be happening over the next 3 days. If you're catching this in a replay, you can watch this video, of course, that you're seeing right now, but everything else will be online. So definitely encourage you all to check that out. Anyhow, we'll just give a few minutes here for people to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. While we do that, just a quick mention that a lot of the viewers today are, obviously in the craft brewing industry, but the content we'll be talking about here applies to really anybody who's serving things on kegs. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go ahead and get going. So we're going to start off with a little bit of introduction to Kegtron, the company, and our products, and then we'll jump into a live demo at the end. If you have questions, please go ahead, type them in the chat, or if you are not catching this live, you can always visit kegtron.com and connect with us directly. We'd be happy to answer your questions. All right. So let's get started. So Kegtron, again, my name's Steve Keck, and I started Kegtron back in 2017. We're based in the San Francisco Bay Area. Been in production for about 3 years. Started with the product you see on our screen, which is our Gen 1 device. And we're trying to answer a very simple question, what's left in the kegs? Everybody has done the lift and guess technique, and we thought there was a better way to do that. So we launched a Kickstarter program to get the company off the ground, which has been quite successful. And our focus is always to make this as easy as possible. Anybody that knows how to tap a keg and operate their phone should be able to make this work. But in doing so, we realized that the first gen product worked well for home users, but for business users, folks that are in the business of selling beer on draft, any product on draft, there are a lot of things that really could be helpful to run the business. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here. So first off, why bother to monitor your kegs to begin with? The simple one is managing your inventory. Again, lifting and guessing is not a great way to run a business. So now with keg monitoring, you can see a live view of all of your kegs, even if you have multiple venues. So that allows you, if you're in a producing product, to plan your productions, since you know what your actual inventory is, or if you're buying kegs, to plan that in advance so you don't run out. The other is reducing losses. I mean, anyone that's serving from kegs knows that you don't get 100% out of your keg. Sometimes you lose stuff from spillage, from cleaning, or questionable staff behavior with giveaways, over pours, etc. Some in the industry claim that you can see 20% loss per keg, and that's lost revenue. Staff behavior can be a challenge sometimes if you have, particularly a draft beer, where the only way you know what's been sold is by what's gone in the register. Free beers, over pours, spills, they aren't counted in your point of sales reports. So if you have keg monitoring, you can encourage better staff behavior, and it helps keep honest people honest. So you put these two things together, your inventory management, waste reduction, behavioral changes, and that leads to increased profits for your business. That's really what it comes down to. So how does a keg monitoring save you money? Well, let's, as we mentioned a few of these, if drinks are being given away, well, you'll see that in your reports. You can see exactly what's been poured because every serving is measured and time-stamped. You can run a report and compare that to your sales and see if there's anything that's missing. If you have issues where staff are serving beers after you've closed the business, you can set up alerts so you can get a text or email to let you know, hey, something's happening when you're supposed to be closed. Maybe you should look into it. Over pours, spillage, again, because we're measuring each and every serving, we know exactly what's been poured when, and you can look at that and see if there are problems. Maybe they're honest mistakes. Maybe your staff needs some guidance on how to pour. but you can see all that in your reports and do something about it. Again, we talked about, improving staff behavior. If you think that, beers are being given away, drinks are being given away and not being rung up, well, having a security camera encourages people, to behave differently. Having keg monitoring can do the same thing for people operating the bar. If you have maintenance issues from excess foaming, you can look at reports and see the fact, well, every pour I see has a top off. Maybe there's something to be done. Maybe have a draft technician come out and take a look at your lines and see if there's something that needs to be adjusted. Again, you don't see it, you don't know that something needs to be done. And lastly, maintenance issues. Are your lines being cleaned regularly? How long have your kegs been on tap? What's your cooler temperature? These are all really important things to make sure your quality of your product is top notch. And you can be aware of that before you run into problems. So, end of the day, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So we give you the tools to do all these measurements and really improve your operations. So let's jump into the actual product itself. So Kegtron Pro is our new product line that was launched last year. It's designed for really any type of installation, long draw, direct draw. You can use this in your tap room. You can use this in your bar and restaurant. You can use it in your mobile bar. It's a very modular, flexible system. If you can use our 4-tap unit or dual. You can cascade them together to do dozens of taps. It's up to you, but it's a flexible system. There's no gateways, there's no wiring hubs, no dedicated PCs. Basically, you hook up low voltage power to this, connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. It's simple enough that you can install this yourself, or if you want to pay someone to come out to help you out with it, it's going to save them a lot of time versus some other options out there, which can look like telephone wiring closets, to be honest. And lastly, we use very high-end precision Swiss flow meters to give you the highest accuracy that we can with the very flexible John Guest fittings to let you use all different size of lines and types, vinyl, barrier line of different sizes. And they're also NSF rated, so as long as you stay on top of your cleaning, you've got a safe product to be pushing your draft through. All right. On the software side of things, so Kegtron is a combination of hardware and software. The hardware lives in your cooler and your kegerator. The software lives in the cloud. So it's a web-based platform where you can see all of the stats for all of your kegs. You can see this from any location. So as long as you have internet access, it doesn't matter where you are, you can see all of your data. If you have multiple venues, you can see all those venues at once, which is pretty handy instead of having to go to each site individually and get your inventory stats. Serving history, event logs, it's all available for you. And if you're on the advanced side of things, you want to be able to export your data, you want to tie this into a third-party software with an API, that's all available to you. And lastly, you can set up alerts to let you know when your kegs are going low, when things are pouring after hours, when things go offline. A lot of really powerful features available to you, but in a very simple to use web interface. We're going to jump into the demo here just a second so you can see all this going real time. But since I can't show you actual hardware on the web, we can look at a couple still pictures. So just to give you an idea of what does it look like when it's installed. So you can see on one side, we've got a simple dual tap setup with, in this case, we have 3/8" poly that just plugs straight in, no adapters needed. Another situation, we've got a 6-tap setup, a quad and a dual cascaded together. In this case, they're using 3/16 ID vinyl line with included adapters to just plug right in. So, again, very flexible installation, easy to install in your walk-in, easy to install in your kegerator, whatever your installation looks like. All right, so let's swap over to a live demo of the Kegtron Pro product. So bear with me as I swap. Okay, so what we're looking at here is what we call the Kegtron Cloud Dashboard. it's a hierarchical system. That means that you start at the highest level and can drill down to lower levels of detail. And so what we're looking at right here is what we call a sites view. So we've got a simple setup here where we have 3 different locations. Each of those locations represents a different physical location. And, you know, a limited amount of detail here, but you can just get a high level glance of what's going on. You can see, you know, one location that has 3 kegs, everything looks okay. Second site, there are 4 kegs, 2 of them are running low. And then I've got a third location, which is a restaurant that has 10 taps. We can see that one of them is near empty. And we can go ahead and click on one of these sites and see what's going on. Okay, so now we're looking at our keg view. And so the keg view shows us all of the kegs that are active at this particular location. We can click on anything. We want to sort by level. We want to sort by the days on tap. You can basically get any sort of sorting you want here. But the point here is that you have all of this information available to you at a quick glance. So let's go ahead and take at one particular tap. Let's take a look at the 805 and see what's going on. So here our 805 is you know, Firestone Walker beer. We can see kind of a summary description that you can enter in. All of the descriptions are optional, but you can see some of the specifics like the temperature, humidity, type of hardware that's connected, keg size, etc. A lot of low-level details that you probably don't need to know every day, but once in a while you want to check out. How long has it been on tap? What time are the lines last clean, etc. When it comes to actual serving history, you can see that history over here in the top right, where you can see a particular time and date when each serving happened. So you can see, you know, some interesting things. For example, you can see some larger pours, or perhaps a small and a medium size, followed by one shortly thereafter. You can see there's some unusual stuff happening here. Maybe there's a little bit of foaming going on, maybe some inconsistent pouring. So you can get some clues as to what's happening just by looking at that data. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see kind of that history over time of kind of a graphical view. If we change that date, so let's go ahead and go to the beginning of the month. All that data is going to update, so you can see what's been happening at on this particular tap. You can see a couple days where they were closed, and when you do that, then all of your serving history is updated as well. So everything you see in the graph is up here in a tabular form as well. So you've got that for each and every tap. Now, if you go to the top level, one of the things that's probably the most valuable thing as a business owner is to really get summary information. So let's take a look at the reports. So if you run a report, and let's just take a look at yesterday as an example. Let's pull that up here. We're going to reload this just a moment. Okay, got a little stuck. So we'll come back to this one, but one of the cool features of the cloud dashboard is the ability to be able to run reports on whatever it is that you're looking at any one time. Okay, we'll go ahead and start that reports one more time. Okay. Reports aren't working for us at the moment, so we'll try that again later. But what you can do when it comes to setting up individual taps is you can go ahead and set up information on each individual keg, change your keg size, change the dates tapped, date cleaned. You can also go ahead and set up alerts, which is a really powerful function. Set up when a keg is low, when it's running empty. And this allows you to really kind of stay on top of things without having to actually manually measure everything or check, periodically. You can be more proactive rather than reactive. The other thing that I'd like to point out is cleaning is a big deal. So if you like to, as everybody should, stay on top of your cleaning, the system will do that for you. It'll keep track of when you were last cleaned. when you can need to clean again, it'll actually keep track of that in a database, and you can look at each keg and see those dates. So you can, if you're cleaning it yourself or you're paying someone else to come in and clean, you can have all that information available to you. Okay, so a lot of information here, try to cram in a small amount of time. But again, if there are any questions, you can always visit us at kegtron.com, and we will be more than happy to answer any of those questions. And if you have any questions on the online chat, you can go ahead and type those in. And if not, we'll happily turn this back over to Andrew at CBP. And thanks everyone for your time. Cheers.